Welcome to Oxford Real Estate Insights and our podcast on real estate research and practice, the Property Pod. I'm the AI voice of your host, Martin Schmalz, and today we're diving deep into research that examines whether tokenization, representing fractional ownership of real estate with blockchain-based tokens, is the future of real estate investment. In January 2020, two developments made headlines. IPSX floated its first asset, the mailbox in Birmingham, 700,000 square feet of shops, restaurants, and offices, home to Harvey Nichols and the BBC. Around the same time, Brickmark purchased a prime commercial building in Zurich from RFR Holding for around $120 million, with a significant part of the purchase price paid in Brickmark tokens. The fractionalization and tokenization of real estate is a hot topic, but there's a shortage of objective commentary to guide this market. Today we'll explore what Oxford's research actually shows. Let me walk you through what Andrew Baum found here at the Oxford Future of Real Estate initiative, because the implications matter for anyone thinking about where tokenization will and won't gain traction, not where tokenization works first. The report defines tokenization as the process of representing fractional ownership interest in an asset with a blockchain-based token. Baum and his collaborators focus on three areas: single assets, debt, and funds. The geographical scope is Europe with global references. The research demonstrates that tokenization has the greatest chance of making immediate progress in the world of funds. Why? Two reasons. First, the structure is already in place. Funds are already fractionalized. Second, there is already an express demand for fractionalization in that space. Debt contracts could also be suitable. The contractual structures controlling debt investments are reasonably standardized, and CMBS and RMBS structures have evidenced an express demand for fractionalizing these assets. So funds and debt offer immediate opportunities to establish the credibility of tokenized real estate applications. Why single asset tokenization is hard? Now, the core of the report. Why is tokenizing a single commercial building so difficult? The case for digital tokenization of single real estate assets is that real estate is lumpy and illiquid, and that investors should be able to participate in ownership of a broader universe of assets and build diversified portfolios with modest sums. The challenge is that two radical developments have to be simultaneously accepted. First, there needs to be an express demand for the fractionalization of single real estate assets. The report finds that evidence of this is at best sketchy, both through history and in the current period. Second, market participants need to be comfortable with blockchain, the digital underpinning of tokenization. Connected to this is the cost of fractionalization and the cost of tokenization. In many land markets, fractionalization requires an intermediate structure to be established because the direct ownership of land cannot be split into many pieces. Even where that's not the case, agreement needs to be reached regarding the control of fractionalized assets. For certainty, risk control, and regulatory compliance, it makes sense to reproduce existing structures. Limited companies, LLCs, partnerships, trusts, or dedicated contractual systems that have been proven to govern fractionalized investments. The report concludes that an intermediate structure is likely to be both necessary and convenient when fractionalizing a single asset. This both increases the cost of tokenization and reduces the extent to which a digital post-GFC democratization ideal can be promoted. The economics become unconvincing when you layer these costs on top of uncertain demand. The report warns that there is a clear danger that innovation will be set back by years and possibly decades if attention is focused solely on the digital fractionalization of single assets, for which the demand may be limited, the economics unconvincing, and the obstacles significant. Now, from IPSX to Brickmark, what's been tried? So what has actually happened in the market? The report examines the story so far. IPSX, the International Property Securities Exchange, proposed to enable the fractionalization of real estate assets through a dedicated exchange. The mailbox in Birmingham was its first floated asset. The report discusses who the buyers and sellers might be, and the questions around liquidity and volatility for single asset exchanges. Brickmark's Zurich transaction showed that token-based payment could form part of a substantial commercial deal. But these remain early isolated examples. The report notes that larger assets already held in fund structures, the Empire State Building and others, may be tokenized successfully. there may also be an alternative market for tokenized residential, social impact, or community assets where investment regulation and risk return are not the main drivers. Utility tokens for building users and hybrid tokens for residential co-ownership may well follow. In time, there may be some successful trophy asset tokenizations. The mass market for the tokenization of single commercial real estate assets, however, may be some way down the road. And implications for investors and the market. What does this mean in practice? The research suggests a pragmatic sequencing. Funds and debt offer the most credible near-term path. Establishing tokenization in those structures could build market confidence. Single asset tokenization of commercial real estate faces higher hurdles, sketchy demand, necessary intermediate structures that add cost, and the need for broader blockchain adoption. For real estate professionals and investors, the findings point to a more nuanced view than the hype often suggests. Tokenization may transform parts of the market, but not all at once, and not necessarily starting with the single asset use case that has captured the most attention. Conclusion. That's our deep dive into Oxford's research on tokenization and the future of real estate investment. The report demonstrates that funds and debt offer the most viable near-term opportunities, while single asset tokenization of commercial real estate faces significant obstacles. Limited evidence of demand, the cost of intermediate structures, and the need for broader blockchain comfort. The mass market for tokenizing single commercial buildings may be some way off, but the path through funds and debt is clearer. Thanks for joining us on the Property Pod from Oxford Real Estate Insights. Don't forget to subscribe for more research insights on the future of real estate. I'm the AI voice of Martin Schmalz, and we'll see you next time.